Hello, everyone. I'm terribly sorry about the confusion there. Hopefully you're all with us now. Thanks for your patience this evening. That's much appreciated. I think we've got James Cole. James, are you with us?
Hello.
No. Okay. Right.
Hello. No. Hello.
I said no. Then. Goodness.
Wow.
James, are you okay to kick us off?
Yeah. No problem. Hi, Joe.
And then Sam, are you okay to follow up? Do you want some questions as well, Sam?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problems at all. So we'll start with James. Then we'll go to Sam, and then if you can identify yourself in the usual way via the chat facility, we can take it from there if that's okay. James, we're rolling. So when you're ready, mate, please.
Hi, Joe. A lot of debate over the pitch at the last Test match. How's this one looking?
It's looking very similar as it was, 2 days out from the last game as well. So we'll see. I mean, it could change again overnight. I think the most important thing is that we learn all the lessons from the last two Test matches and make sure we're better for it. And it's important that if we get ourselves in a similar position in the first innings, we really make that count and try and get some scoreboard pressure in the game, early on.
Virat Kohli's reacted quite strongly to suggestions the pitch was to blame. He says it was the batsmen who weren't skilled enough on that pitch. Do you accept that?
Look, I think that as batters, if you don't score runs, you will always look at yourselves. You'll always try and find ways to improve. And we've certainly done that. We've looked at a couple of the dismissals, how we're going to find ways of building big partnerships and getting some significant scores on it if it is a similar surface this time round. Figuring out a game plan that suits each individual and in turn, enables us to get those partnerships, which are so important in Test cricket.
Have you nailed down an 11 or a 12 yet?
No, not at this stage. We're going to have another day to see what that wicket finally looks like ahead of things, and we'll get a team to at the toss.
Are you likely to recall Dom Bess? Obviously, you just went with the one specialist spinner last time. Is he going to come back in?
Well, he's certainly up for selection. He's been training really well. I think he's actually used the time out of the game, the last two Test matches, to work on a few things, and he looks very good. He's practiced very hard. He's got a very good character, and if he gets a chance to play, I'm sure he'll be desperate to try and exploit the surface if it's anything like the last two games.
How's his confidence? Is it taking a knock at all from being left out?
No, I don't think so. I think that when you do sometimes get taken out of the side, it's really important that you look to use that opportunity to improve, evolve as a player, get better all the time. And I think he's done that. I think he's using that. That time to work on his game and to become a better player for it. So no, I think that's exactly what you want from players, is to see things for how they are and to go away and try and improve themselves. And he's certainly done that.
And finally from me, are you considering tinkering the top order again in this Test match?
Well, we'll discuss the team at the toss when it's finalised. But I think the most important thing is that as a batting group, we're very clear about how we want to play, and that we go into the game full of confidence. We have no scars from the last two, and that we play that in a controlled but fearless way. We shouldn't be scared about the surface in any sort of way, or about the guys bowling on it. It's just really important that we stay very calm, clear about how we're going to score our runs, and trust both defence and when we want to score as well. Trust those shots that make us the players we are.
Thank you.
Sam Ellard, please.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Sam. How are you?
Good, thanks. Joe, I know there's been a sickness bug through the England camp over the last couple of days. I was just wondering, ahead of that Test match tomorrow, how is everyone? Is everyone fit and feeling well?
Yeah, everyone came into training except three of the seamers who did the gym work here at the hotel. Normally the day out from the game is optional training, and the guys get what they need going into things. So everyone in that way has prepared how they would have liked to for the Test match. The two guys that have actually been affected worst by it have been Collie and the S&C Daz, who's with us at the moment. So now hopefully that stays the case. Guys are fit and available for the game tomorrow. but as well, just because of that, it gives us, we just give ourselves a little bit more time and in terms of naming a squad.
And Joe, we've spoken a lot about the spin on these pitches, but how important will pace be? You know, short, sharp bursts from your quick bowlers, and all of your fast bowlers, are they fit and ready to go if called upon tomorrow?
Yeah, again, we'll have to keep monitoring it and seeing how everyone is tomorrow morning. But at the minute, everyone went into training, and you know, we've got options to pick from, which is always great. The guys that have played have given a really good account of themselves in some very challenging conditions for seam bowling and fast bowling. But you know, we've got a number of guys that could step up to the plate and certainly perform. And you know, we know that they have done as well. Thing with the red ball, it does seem to, or does tend to reverse a little bit more than the pink one, and that, you know, that can be a really important factor. So if that is the case, I'm sure our guys will be looking to try and exploit that.
A win in this test match will mean 4 wins from 6 this winter, 2 series unbeaten. Would that represent a good winter for this England cricket team? Does that give you plenty to build upon moving forward?
Yeah, I think it would. I think it'd be a very good tour. You know how hard it is to look at India's record at home since 2012. You know, no side's come here and won. So for us to come away with a draw would be a fantastic result for us, and it's a great motivator going into the week. You know, it's a really important test match for us. We've obviously throughout the course of the tour, we've played some really good cricket throughout this winter till now. And you know, you look at where our side was a few years ago, to say we won 6 out of our last 8 games in Asia, I think it shows the development of this side and what we are capable of in this part of the world. So it's really important to remember that going into a game like this. And, you know, the guys have got to take that confidence forward and make sure that, you know, if we get a chance to get ahead in the game, we really make it count like we did in the first game of this series.
And last one for me, Joe. I know you want to give the team away, but if a second spinner does come in, are the likes of, you know, Verdi, Parkinson and Crane, are they in contention for selection? Or is it just a case of whether you choose to bring Dom Best back in or not?
I know those guys aren't part of the squad. They've been here as in the reserve squad, and they've worked extremely hard. You know, they've been a credit to themselves. They've improved all the time. You know, they've continually worked to get better. Mason's actually gone home. He's been home for a week or so now. But you know, I couldn't be more pleased with their development as players, and they'll be better for this experience. But you know, they're not currently involved in the actual touring squad.
Good luck, Joe. Thank you.
Cheers, sir.
Will McPherson, please.
Hi, Joe. What do you want to see from your young batsmen? You said yesterday that you kind of reminded us that you've played more tests in Asia than kind of all of them combined. What do you want to see from them, and what would represent progress, and what have you as a group been able to do to counter or improve against Axar and Ashwin, who are bowlers who you don't really have anyone similar like that with you to kind of practice against? How can you get better against them whilst kind of during the series and on the hop?
I think first and foremost, we've got to play with that bat, not our front pad. I think that's a really important thing. We've got to keep looking to hit the ball, get ourselves in good positions, trust our defence for long periods of time if we need to, but also be clear about where we're going to score our runs. And like I said, I think it's that balance between being really calm and in control of what you're trying to do and clear about where you're going to score your runs. I think I'd hate to see the guys go out there, look nervous, not trust themselves, not trust their own games, because they're very good players. Now they can play. And I think it's really important that they take that sort of freedom of mindset into the way that they go and you know, attack this game. Because ultimately, if you're doubting yourself, you're not giving yourself the best chance. And you know, there's some very talented players that I'm sure will be really relishing this challenge and will want to come out of this series with, you know, with a big score. And you never know, if the wicket is as it is, a big score might not be 150, 160. It might be a really well constructed 70 or 80. But ultimately, it's about playing what's right in front of us, being smart and being, you know, managing the risk well for periods of time, but being really clear about where it's going to score our runs. I'd hate for us to just sit in a bunker the whole time and you know, just try and fend our way through it. I think we do have to be very clear about where we're going to rotate strike, where we're going to score our boundaries, because ultimately that's what batting is about. It's about scoring more runs in the opposition. You know, we have to trust that side of our games as well as our defence.
Can I just ask about Johnny as well? He obviously got a pair on his return to the side last week. How has he been? What have you been saying to him? That kind of stuff.
Oh, Johnny's a very experienced player. Yeah, he'll be disappointed, and you speak to guys and you could tell he's very disappointed. He wants to do well. He wants to perform in an England shirt all the time. He's very proud. And I don't think there's a better motivator for him, really. He'll go into this game and he'll want to prove a point. And we all know when Johnny wants to prove a point, that's when you get the best out of him. So hopefully we see that this week. And more than anything, I really want, if he gets through his first 10, 15 balls, which, likelihood is he will, then he could be a real threat for India on that surface, against India, on that surface.
John Etheridge, please.
Joe, hi. A question, I suppose, not directly linked with this match, but you've finalised your coaching team and guys you're familiar with anyway. But are you confident and comfortable they're the right men to help this team achieve its ambitions, particularly, I suppose, in Australia next winter? Yeah,
I think you look at those guys, and when they've come into the group, they've added a huge amount over the last period of time. They're all very experienced players. They can obviously add their personal experiences, whether it be in international cricket, their knowledge of the guys as well through county cricket as well. I think is really important understanding of how different players work and how the environment works. And I think they've got a very good rapport with all of the players as well, which I think ultimately is one of the things that's going to get the most out of the guys. So really excited for them all. And yeah, it'd be great to get them in on a permanent basis and get them involved.
Did you have quite a bit of input into the selection process? Because there were some good guys who applied for the job who didn't get them.
No, I wasn't involved in that at all.
Thank
you. No worries.
Rory Dollar, please.
Hi, Joe. Listen, I know you're very focused on the match at hand and stuff, and you're probably not desperately paying attention to the budget and what have you. But, there is going to be a large amount of money made available to cricket to sort of cover the losses and the lack of fans at the start of the summer. Just as sort of in your role at the head of the game, really, how positive that news is for you that cricket's being looked after and from Headingley and sort of downwards from that.
That's the first I've been made aware of it, so I don't really know too much about it. But obviously, if it's going to benefit the game all the way down, that's fantastic. I think it's really important that we all try and do everything we can to look after the game from top to bottom. And as been made very clear from things like the 100 and stuff, it's about trying to introduce new people into the game, try and provide opportunity as well. And it does take money to do that. So the fact that the game is being looked after is a really positive thing. And obviously, it's great to hear that.
Chris Stocks, please.
Hi, Joe. Your next test after this one will be the first Ashes test in Australia. I know you guys have been planning for that for a while. I just wondered how close you are to knowing your best 11 and I guess your best 14 as well, because it'll be a squad effort for that series in Australia.
Yeah, I think we're not far away from it. I think that we've still got plenty of games between now and then, and it's important that we use them extremely well. But ultimately, all the time, this group of players is gaining experience, gaining time together, understanding different pressure situations, different pressure environments, and evolving all the time. And I think, obviously, when that's happened, when you see that sort of progression as a team and you have that togetherness where you've been together for a period of time, you generally see improvement. And I think that's been the case with the current squad of players. I don't think anything's definite, but I do think that the guys that have been in and around the squad right now are certainly in a very good place, and they just got to keep looking to perform and more than anything is concentrate on what's immediately in front of them because that's, if we look after the next game and the one after that, then that will give us the best chance when the Ashes come round.
Thanks.
Got 4 more to go now. Can we start with Vishesh, please? Vishesh Roy.
Hi, evening, Joe. I just wanted to ask, did Akshar Patel take you by surprise in this ongoing series? Do you think it has been a lack of ability playing against the left arm spin, as traditionally quite a few of England batsmen have struggled against left arm spin? Just to name Kevin Peterson comes in mind. So what would you say regarding that?
I definitely don't think we underestimate him. I think that he's exploited the surfaces very well. He's managed to beat both edges of the bat, which for any spinner is exactly what you're looking for all the time, because you're trying to keep as many modes of dismissal in the game as possible. And I think he's done that very well. I think what we've got to be better at is making sure that we're covering our stumps more so with our bat. And if one rags past the outside edge, then, we just have to accept that more than anything. But as well, what we have got to do is we've got to find ways of putting him back under pressure. And when we do get balls to score off, we've really got to make sure we put them away. And similarly, if there are opportunities to get off strike, then back down the other end to make it difficult for them to bowl 6 balls at us. But it's very easy when you're playing in, I suppose, very alien conditions, which it is for a lot of our squad at the minute. To overanalyze things, overhype things, you've got to look at the basics of the game, the simple basic things that have always treated you so well wherever you've played, and really trust those. And I think that's the most important thing for us as a team, is that we have that confidence going into this game.
Just another question. Would you say that you are a bit guilty of under-bowling yourself, as you have the knack of taking wickets and you pretty much end up taking wickets every time you come on to bowl?
I think partly that is because if I was batting, I know I'd rather face out of our attack, and it would probably be me most of the time. So, but I on that surface, I got a couple of early wickets, and I just had a note put in front of my face, which I'm going to ignore. But I managed to bowl well in the previous game. Maybe on occasions I could bowl myself a little bit more, but when you've got frontline spinners in the side, they're the guys that I trust to go and take wickets for us and to really do a job for us. So, that's the way I see it as well. When you've got guys like Jimmy Anderson in your side, the skills that he has, regardless of the surface, you always feel that those guys are going to have more of an impact than someone like myself.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Shashwat Kumar now, please.
Good evening, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. So actually, I had a couple of questions. So I was just going through a few statistics, and I actually came across a very interesting statistic. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but since the Ashes Down Under in 2018, England have not lost the final test of a series. So what do you think? So what do you think makes your side such a good proposition, so such a hard proposition to tackle, especially in the last match of a series?
I think in the recent away series that we've had, and a recent series that we've had, we've generally got better as the series has progressed. We've learned lessons and implemented them, made real improvements throughout. I think it's been obviously quite challenging with the services that we've had here and the way that we've played in the last 2 games. But that means nothing this week. Whatever happened has happened. We look forward as a team, and we come into this game full of confidence and try and do exactly that. Finish off really strong. Make sure that we do everything we can to win this game, because it would finish what would be a very successful tour for an England side in Asia.
Okay, so just as a follow-up to that, as you talked about how the past does not matter. So one of your most key players, that is Ben Stokes, has a pretty average record against R. Ashwin. So have you had a chat with him regarding some different kinds of approaches that he might need to try, or is it just about trusting his natural game and playing according to the situation as and when it comes up?
Yeah, but he's also had success against him as well. I think it's really important that you call upon those things more than anything. Like I say, it's important that we don't have that baggage going into this game. If you play as a batter, at some point someone's going to get you out more than once, and they're going to get you out a couple of times in a series. That's part and parcel of the game. And one of the challenges of playing in long series is they're one of the little battles that you have to overcome and find a way of, making sure that doesn't have a long-lasting effect on you. So once you've played a Test cricket for as long as Ben has, international cricket for as long as he has, and you play against the same players over and over again, the likelihood they're going to get you out goes up. And I think it's just important that you go into the next game, the next opportunity, and see it for that. You see it as an opportunity to go and score runs, to go and potentially have a big impact on the game and do something special for your country. And he's a fine player. We all know when the pressure's on, when it really matters, someone like Ben will want to be there, trying to drive us across the line. And I'd never doubt him as a player. And every time someone has, he's stood up and proven them wrong. So it's one of the small little intricacies of the game, which is always very fascinating. But it's something that I'm fully confident he'll be able to overcome.
Thank you.
No problem.
Sabayan Chakrabarti now, please. The penultimate question. Thank you.
Hi, Joe. Evening. So my question is regarding today's press conference of Virat Kohli. So he mentioned that in today's cricket, batsmen sometimes don't focus on their defense. They don't trust their defense. And that is a byproduct of white ball cricket or T20 cricket, you can say. So do you agree with that statement, or is that simply poor application on that particular day? And another question I have is, the first test between Afghanistan and Zimbabwe also finished within 2 days. So what would be your suggestion or opinion on making better sporting wickets that can last a few more days?
I think first and foremost, every player looks at batting differently. Some players look at it as run scoring. Some players look at it as a technical thing that you want to trust the process. And some players play the game. They play the opposition, the guy that's bowling at them at the other end. So everyone's approach to batting will be slightly different. Some guys will be a little bit more aggressive than others. But the fundamentals of the game are always the same. And you have to be able to trust your defence. You have to also be able to find ways of scoring runs off different types of bowlers. And it's getting a balance of that over a period of time. In terms of the wickets, everyone's opinion of what is a good wicket is different as well. So, there's been a couple of low-scoring games recently in Test cricket. But, just not too long ago, there's been some thrilling 5-day Test matches as well. And, over time, these things sort of tend to marry out, or to even out, And I suppose it always seems to happen bunched together. But, as I say, everyone's opinion on what is a good wicket, what's a sporting wicket, what's unacceptable is going to be different. And as players, all you can do is play what's right in front of you and try and make sure that you play it better than the opposition. And that is our challenge this week is, no point have we moaned about the pitches. We've tried to get on with it. We've tried to find ways of being better on the pitches that are in front of us. And that's exactly what we'll try and do again this week, is make sure that we try and outplay India, on whatever it is that's put in front of us. And if we can do that, I think, it would sum up a very good tour for us.
And does all the opinions and the noise coming outside of the dressing room, say former players talking about it, does it really impact the players inside the dressing room? Because of the bio-bubble situation, people tend to read a lot in today's time.
I think that's part and parcel of Test cricket now. There's always a lot of noise around the game. There's always a lot of opinion, and there's guys, it's your job to write about what you see in front of you and to make comment on it, and to I suppose express to everyone else reading and watching what you think you've seen. As a player, what you've got to do is you've got to find a way of dealing with that, whether you like it or not, and trying to find a way of staying very level. It's really important that you manage that side of Test cricket really well, because it's part of the game. It's one of the things that make it what it is, and ultimately, it's not going away as a player. You have to be able to manage that. So whether you're in a bubble or not, I don't think that's changed a huge amount. And you've just got to play what's right in front of you, and you've got to try and play it better than the opposition.
And finally, please.
No problem.
Finally, please, Anuj Mishra.
Good evening, Joe. Joe, England has always reiterated, and you also said that England will be looking for a big first innings total ahead of the series. You told us, and you did that in the first test also. But looking at now, since how the pitch has behaved, like you mentioned early in the PC, that it will be same. What should be the ideal score in the first innings if you win toss tomorrow?
I think we don't look at what's an ideal score. Is we just try and maximise the opportunity that we get. If it is that we bat first, we've got to try and bat as big and as long as possible. And we've got recent form that we can do that in in some of the games in Sri Lanka, and obviously in that first Test match here, we know that we can do it, but we've got to sort of harness that and take it into the next game, and you know we know that we can do that now. So it's just important that we take that confidence forward, and you know if we do that, we know that scoreboard pressure, especially if it starts to spin early on in the game, that will play a huge factor. And similarly, if they bat first, we just got to try and get past them, because we know how important that will be later on in the game.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much, everyone. Take care and have a good evening. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.